In this segment, we're going to talk about sitting. All right? This is something we all spend way too much time doing. Before I do this, I want to demonstrate how throughout history people have sat. It's only in the industrialized world that we sit the way we sit in what I call a 90-90 position. If you go to many of the countries in the third world, whether it's in Asia, Southeast Asia, the Middle East, this is how people sit. And you'll go to a coffee shop and they're hanging around either on pillows or they're sitting like this, or you'll see them in the middle of the street and they're sitting, okay? But what happens here is in this position, it's opening up the pelvis, it's stretching the low back, it's not putting you in this position, okay? It's actually letting the hip flexors relax. And what we do is we come in and we spend hours in this position, which is the worst position mechanically. It puts the most force on your spine, and we don't even do it straight, okay? This is how we want to do it. Remember, our brain wants to keep our eyes level to the horizon, wants to keep our body underneath it for maximal resistance to gravity and minimal energy output. So if I don't have these curves in here and the counter curve to my pelvis and the mid-back, that gives me shock absorption, okay? It's like having a spring. But if I take it and I all of a sudden bend it like this, push down on my head. Keep going, like hard. Push, okay? I have no resistance. Now, push down on my head, okay? And I have a lot of resistance. That's what's happening to gravity. So again, go back to the mechanics of the meningeo sleeve. It's a rubber band, it comes up the back and it wraps around my face, okay? It attaches all back in here. So if all of a sudden I'm sitting like this, what am I doing? I'm sitting there tractioning, you know, it's like I might as well have something pulling my face back, okay? That's literally what's happening. Well, what do you think's happening to your brain? It's getting compressed. All right? So the body works as a single synchronized functional unit. I want you to sit like this, and we're going to help you do that, because if you watch, it's all about how the pelvis rotates. Okay? So again, using my lovely assistant Stevie, I'm going to have you just stand for a moment. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you before and after. Okay? So I want you just to have a seat. We're going to do the slump test. The slump test is what we use for the sitting and the standing. Okay? I'm going to have you breathe in. Exhale, let your body go. Just let it go. No, really let it go. Relax. There, okay? Once she relaxes her head and her shoulders and her low back and she gives up all the concern about how she looks, okay, she collapses, all right? Now, this is a straight back chair. It's not even like your car seat or worse, the airplane seats, okay? I don't know who designed that, but I think it's got to be Quasimodo who is hanging out like this, because that's how the seats are, okay? Which was why everybody feels lousy getting off of the plane. But most people also feel lousy after a long car ride, because look at the mechanics. If I come in here, boom, there she goes, okay? Now, just sit up a little straighter, put a little curve in here, okay? A lot of resistance, okay? So here's what we're going to do. Actually, before I do this, I'm going to imitate a car seat. The bucket seats, go ahead and stand up and have a seat. Notice how the bucket seats always slant you back, and then they've got the big thing here. And people say, but I've got the lumbar support. So I'm slanted back like this. Watch this. Breathe in. Exhale, let your body relax. No, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Yeah, you see how she's really falling forward, okay? So in order not to fall with her head on the steering wheel, okay, you wouldn't be able to drive very well like that. What do you think you have to do? You have to compensate now because of the seat, okay? So I'm going to have you breathe in again. Exhale, let your body go. Let it collapse, let it just go, okay? But then we come in and we say, oh, but doc, I've got a lumbar support and I can inflate the lumbar support. And she'll tell you this is not a lot of fun, okay? Because her pelvis is rotated back like this. That's the attachment to that rubber band. And then I come in and I drive her lumbar spine forward and I create a shear force. There's one thing pushing back and then there's another thing pushing forward. And guess what? You're on your way to back surgery pretty quickly, okay? Which is, it's no wonder that a lot of truck drivers and people who are sitting all the time on something that's vibrating, they end up with disc herniations, all right? So go ahead and stand up for me. Now, let's just do a simple thing. This is just a simple little wedge. You can get these anywhere. I mean, $10, some, you know, whatever. If you can't find one, call me, okay? So go ahead and have a seat. Instantly we see a change. Now take a deep breath in. Exhale, let your body go. Notice how she's upright. That's more balanced, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay? Now take a deep breath again. Exhale, really let your body go. Okay? Much better. Now we're going to compare again. I'm going to have her just have her sit here for a moment. Go ahead and film her in. Okay, now stand up. Now without this, go ahead and have a seat. Notice how she's trying to figure out how to get comfortable. Okay? Take a deep breath in. Exhale, let your body go. You see how she wants to fall forward? Now we're going to do the bucket seat again. Go ahead and stand up and have a seat. Ooh, that's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, she doesn't like that, all right? But try this in your car, okay? Now, I don't have another wedge, but what I am going to do, I'm simply going to use a pillow, okay? Go ahead and stand up. And I'm going to balance this out just on her sit bones, the little bones right back here in your butt, okay? We're just going to lift those a little bit, okay? Go ahead and have a seat. Notice how that's much better, okay? So this is what you could do in your bucket seat. You can just use a towel, all right? If that's not enough, if you still feel a little tension down here or up in here after you drive for an hour, stand up again. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. Not a lot bigger, just a little bigger. Okay, go ahead and have a seat. And I want her little sit bones to land right on it, even better. Notice how that brings her right upright, okay? So that's a very easy solution that you can do at home that'll minimize the tension. Now, one thing I want to make clear, the more you resist to gravity, and we're going to talk about this later when we talk about cancer, the more efficiently your body resists gravity, the more easily your lungs are able to work, the more oxygen you bring in, the more oxygen your body is able to utilize, the more resistance you have. We're an oxygenation or an oxygen-based system, okay? So we'll talk about that in more detail, but everything I'm doing here, she can tell you, well, you can test this at home, all right? Go ahead and stand up and have a seat. Go ahead and just let your body go. Breathe in, breathe out, let your body go. Let it really go. Try this at home sometime on a Saturday when you've got nothing to do but to play around with this, all right, like we all do. So all I want you to do, Stevie, we're not going to do this on film, but do this at home. I want you just to sit here for 10 minutes. Just sit here for 10 minutes. And after that 10 minutes, I want to ask you yourself the question, how do I feel? What's my mood? How am I breathing? Do I feel alive? Do I feel invigorated? Okay? And then stand up. Then I want you simply to spend another 10 minutes. Go ahead and have a seat. You could do it for 2. I mean, it's not going to take long for you to figure it out. And take a deep breath in. Exhale, let your body go. And sit like this. And see how you feel. I'm talking about how you feel emotionally. The things you think about. You'll notice that you're thinking about more positive things this way than the other way. So if you're dealing with any kind of depression, do you think this is going to help you? Absolutely. By the way, most cases of depression are really the result of lack of oxygen to the brain. As soon as we increase oxygen to the brain, and they've done studies where, you know, just having somebody breathe oxygen through a mask, their mood will start to change. So we don't need all these drugs. We don't need to sit here and poison, cut, and burn people in order to handle a lot of the stressors or the effect of the stressors of life. We need to learn how to push back, okay? So that's what we're going to do with the sitting, okay? Next we'll go into sleeping. Thank you.